24 different race weekends and 24 opportunities throughout this calendar, and it boils down to tonight, the penultimate race, before we see the final four punch their ticket to fight for a championship in Michigan in a little over 2 weeks' time. Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Young, proud to bring you the action for one to two more times this season, as we are here in the Sin City of Las Vegas for the Las Vegas 240, presented by 7 Bar Barbecue. Join us in the middle of qualifying, as we usually are, as drivers are taking their qualifying laps here. And we will take a look at how everyone is doing now. The driver about to finish their run is Chris Fleming, as he comes across the line now. Driver that is in a pretty much must-win coming into the night after last week getting pinned on pit lane. He is pretty much knows the situation he is in. He has to win, or he will be looking at the couch. Oh, not sitting on the couch, because he'll probably be here in 2 weeks' time at Michigan. But he will, at the very least, be looking at what could be if he can't find victory tonight. Looking at some other drivers on runs the moment as he finishes his second run to put his car P4. You have Ross Baxter about to finish his second lap here, as he is coming down the stretch here. We'll get to look at the playoff standings and all of that in just a second. We do want to let everyone finish their runs here, as Baxter comes across the line now. Has to beat a current pole time set by Markowski. Come across the line, and he will not improve. So we'll go to Blake Galloway, rocking a new paint scheme, purple and black here. We'll go on board with the driver of the number 05 machine. We'll let him do a little bit of we'll follow him along here. Show you what you got to do around Las Vegas to try to be relatively quick. Obviously, you'll see drivers try different lines, but most drivers will do what we see the driver of this 05 doing. Pin it low, slight lift in the throttle, then try to get back on the throttle as quick as you dare. Put down a time. Obviously, as the tires begin to wear, drivers will be a little bit more aggressive with their lifting to make sure, or to save their tire, make sure it doesn't fall off a cliff. First lap good enough for P9 for Blake. Really running low on that apron, trying to find as much time as he can. We'll see if that benefits him here as he's going to finish up his second lap here. Only one driver is yet to qualify. That is Tommy Withers. And if he does qualify within the next 2 minutes, that will give us a full field of 20 names ready to participate. So as we see Galloway come across the line now, second lap will not be an improvement, so he will stay. Actually, yeah, no, it will not be improvement, just confirming that. But regardless, even if it was, he did not jump any higher. So we'll let Chris Fleming just drive around here as he's doing some extra practice time, as we know the importance of this race. And speaking of, if you are tuning in here as well, if you did not catch last week's race, it was a thriller. So we will give you a second to go back into the ABN Studios archives to watch that. Obviously, if you're watching us on demand, you can obviously watch it as well. But if you do want to know the results, we will go over that now. And one person locked their way into the playoffs in the Final Four. It's the driver 34, who's not out on track. We were going to try to cut to him, but he's not here right now. 34, Brandon Featherplace, took victory, and he will be heading to Michigan for his third straight Final Four appearance. This time, hoping the number 3 is the lucky number to bring home the title. Other drivers had good success and bad success here, and we pull up the standings here. I believe it's this box here. You'll see here that Brandon Featherplace, obviously with the win, gets in. Seth Wansing will pop into second position here, as he had a good run and took, I think, at least one of the 2 stages, and is currently 15 points above the line. Edward Marshall is 4 points above the line, and Josh Gaiman, who, again, coming in the last week, did not even know he would be in the playoffs. Now in the playoffs on a second chance, is now at the moment in the provisional Final Four spot. 4 points ahead of Matt Fordon, 7 ahead of Dale Markowski, 10 ahead of Josh Battles, and 17 ahead of Chris Fleming. So that is pretty much how everyone lies. We do have some other news to go over, but we will hold that in just a second here, as we do want to make sure, as we get into warm-up, and confirm what we see here, as we are missing one crucial driver. And if you were here last week, the reports of he may or may not be able to make here tonight, it looks like it may not be the case. If that is the case, he is out, and that will free up maybe one more spot for another driver. So we'll give him just a second. We don't want to jump the gun. He's still got time to join, but that clock is running out if he doesn't get here in time. So as Fleming pulls on in, that will signify the end of qualifying. Thank you to Just the Top for sponsoring these qualifying sessions like always. It'll be Markowski, Marshall, Wright, Fleming, and Vordon, your top 5, as we head on into warm-up. So as drivers take their 5 minutes of warm-up right now, just confirming one thing here to make sure I'm not miscounting. I'm miscounting something. Hold on. Just, hold on as drivers. We'll let drivers go out on the track here, and we'll actually follow along with our current pole sitter, Dale Markowski, as he will head on out for Youngstown Town. Yep, so 7 of 8 are here. As we did allude to, Seth Wanzig at the moment is not currently present. Again, it was a question mark whether or not he was even going to be able to participate. There were talks maybe he'll take a stage, maybe he won't, and just try to start. At the moment, there is no sign of the driver of the number 5. And if he does not make it in, that pretty much will mean his playoff spot is forfeit, and he will be out of the round out in the round of 8, freeing up 3 spots for 6 drivers. Markowski comes in. This would be a very crucial thing, too. Even though Markowski, so we'll pull up the standings here in just a second, kind of confirm it. But even though that's the wrong graphic. That's the graphic we're looking for. Even though Markowski is not a driver that's currently in a situation where I would say he needs a win. Coming in tonight, obviously, was only going in 7 down. If he gets a couple stage points over the likes of Gaiman and Marshall, he could easily jump his way in. And now, with the line changing, with no sign of Seth Wanzing, it de facto pulls to Matt Vordon. Well, it doesn't confirm he pulls to Matt Vordon, but the problem is with stage points and points you get at the end of a race being at the minimum going to be at least 20 points, it basically negates any lead Seth Wanzing has. So with the line preemptively moving down, it basically makes it a dogfight for that last spot, and Markowski, starting up towards the front, could be opening to capitalize on. We'll check out some other drivers here, including last week's race winner, Brandon Featherplace. Would not be totally shocked if he ends up running that paint scheme next 2 weeks' time as well, as that scheme has brought him great luck. That goes to Energy Machine. He'll spin it down pit lane, though, but he will at least not hit anything and get it refired back up. There's Chris Fleming, another playoff driver. We'll see if any other drivers at the moment are on the grid. Vordon obviously rocking a Joe Dirt paint scheme with a little metallic chrome there. One of David Spade's more interesting movies, to say the least. Ended up getting a sequel as well. We'll check out the other playoff drivers and show you what they're running. Edward Marshall, not currently on the track, so we won't be able to see what he's doing. Josh Gaiman still run the CZW scheme that, hey, brings him some good pace. He'll be there. Obviously, we see Markowski in the Youngstown Machine. And I believe that should be everyone that's in the playoffs that we've seen here tonight. Yep, that's all the playoff drivers and the schemes they are running. Obviously, Kevin Feemster in a shock, running a blank paint scheme. We'll just do a quick Control-R here on trading paints, just to double check. Because usually Feemster, obviously being one of the more talented, there we go, yeah. Being a very talented painter in the ARCS community would be a crime that he would not be running a paint scheme. And yeah, he is now actually running a paint scheme in that number 17. You see him right there, purple and black out. So that will also refresh any paint schemes that may have not been loading in as well. So that will totally fix everything. So we have a minute to go. Again, some drivers use it as last-minute practice. Others make sure everything's set up right. Others just calming their nerves before they head out there for what will be a run for glory for some and a run for despair for others. So we'll take a quick 10-second pause, just make sure everything is good audio-wise and everything else. So we will catch you in 30 seconds at the start of the gridding up. So join us. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you back here in 30 seconds. So if you have just tuned in, thank you for tuning in here, and you are just in time for the Las Vegas 240, presented by 7 Bar Barbecue. It is the penultimate race before we see the final four punch their ticket. We will now see where everyone will line up as we head to the starting grid here. Just 1 second. There we go. So now we'll head to the starting grid. Dale Markowski gets his first pole of the year. There's a great time to do it. He is, at the moment, outside in the playoffs. He'll be in row number 1 with Edward Marshall, who's currently in the playoffs, but we'll have to try to hang on to it. They'll be in row number 1. Row 2 will be Briley Wright. Good to see him back at a part-time effort. And Chris Fleming, must-win driver. He's in row number 2. Row number 3, Matt Vordon, Kevin Feemster. Vordon, one of the few drivers has multiple wins this season. He'll be in row 3. Kevin Feemster, looking to play spoiler, will be in row 3. Matthew Kent, Josh Battles. Battles, good qualifying. Looks like Black Acid Racing as a team has really found the speed here tonight. He'll be in row 4 along with Matt Kent. Row number 5, Blake Galloway and Brian Dixon. The double number starting with 0. They'll be in row number 5. Row 6, Mark Dila and Ross Baxter. Row number 7, Brandon Featherplace. Low spot for him, but he's nothing to worry about into the next round regardless. He'll be on the inside with Smeal on the outside. Row number 8, Brian Johnson and Colin McDonough. Row number 5, Ethan Wood and Josh Gaiman. Gaiman, the slowest of the drivers of the playoffs to qualify. He's going to have his work cut out for him. He'll be in row number 9. Row number 10, Ryan Pennell and Tommy Withers, and they will round out the 20-car field. So as the drivers get ready, get up the speed here, we should only have 1 lap of pacing. With Seth Wanzing not officially showing, confirms that he cannot make it. He is officially out in the round of 8, now giving us 1 driver in, 1 driver confirmed out, and 6 drivers fighting over 3 more spots. Confirming at the very least, 2 drivers will have to point their way in. Take a quick look at the final information here before we get starting, like always. 160 laps await these drivers. Stages at 25 and 80. First stage, usually expecting no green flag pit stops. Second and third stage, we expect at least 1. 5 sets of tires available, 50% fuel capacities. More importantly, no fast repairs. And lastly, control on the first restart is on green. Every other restart is on leader's discretion. With that out of the way, let's get this penultimate race started. Green flag is out, and away we go for the Las Vegas 240. So lap number 1 in the books here. Markowski will lead lap number 1 and get a crucial bonus point he can use for his current title run here, at least try to get the title run, I should say. As if you do lead a lap, you get 1 bonus point, and if you lead the most laps, you get another bonus point, and a point is also awarded for getting the fastest lap. So those points can be crucial, so Markowski wants to make sure he leads as many laps as he can. Battle for second and battle for fourth. We see Marshall and Wright fighting for second, and Vordon and Fleming fighting for fourth. So we got Joe Action, local action hero on the inside there, trying to make the move on Fleming. As this being the last night race also of the calendar year, as Michigan obviously the track doesn't have lights, so that will not be in the tracks. It's also the last chance we can see a lot of these schemes pop out under the night sun, or the night sky, I should say, as they do battle on the track here. So we see Marshall get ahead for second. Now Vordon still trying to pinch around here, but with Wright kind of playing both lines of the track, it's making the job a bit difficult for the driver of the 00. We'll go on board with Matthew Kent, who's got a pretty good seat of what he's seeing in front of him. As you can see right now, again, Fleming running one line, Vordon running the other. With Wright kind of pinching that low line, it's giving a little extra toe to the 00, getting a little slipstream. However, on the flip side, though, it is kind of blocking the line, making it a bit harder if he was able to kind of get a good run here to fully complete the pass. So now Wright going to go up high, going to cut low, just right in front of the nose the 00. Obviously, a little bit more space, but definitely going to arrow wash that number 00 at least a little bit, as you see now Fleming fully get around with that little extra help. So get a little bit better of an angle here as they do slide out. Vegas has an all right camera package, but not usually the greatest on certain angles. Matthew Kent now trying to take advantage of Ordon, not fully able to get the job done, as now he'll be on the inside line of the 00. So up front, Markowski still has led all 7 laps here at this moment. No friendly gap over Edward Marshall. Ooh, we see a little bit of a low line there by Fleming. That's going to reopen the door for Matt Vordon here. Have a run on the high side. Obviously, we've seen him really like that low groove, so we'll see cars usually like to stick to line, but sometimes you'll have to be forced to make a line change if you don't feel comfortable. And right now, we'll see the 00 get back to his low lines. We'll see if this actually helps him out now that he's got a lot of clean space, with Briley Wright being so far up the road here. Side by side. The car can truly get around here. As it's just, again, the only thing that's really hurting them is they are losing time to the car ahead by staying side by side, but now the driver really wants to give an inch, especially when points can mean the most in this situation. See right there, up the road a little bit here, and Kent with a full head of steam. It's almost poetry in motion to watch this play out here. Is quite a treat to see here, as neither driver is willing to not give an inch. So lap 10 officially complete, 15 to go in stage number 1 here. Still the Markowski show up front, as he has led all 10 laps. We stay on this battle here for P4 until we see it complete. As every time Fleming gets a good run off the corner, now Matthew Kent thinks about doing it, as he knows, hey, you're kind of holding us up here. We've lost a couple tenths to the car ahead. We need you guys to settle this out and try to make a move here and pick a car to lead. And obviously both cars want to be that car leading. So we'll go on board here with Kevin Feams. We watched Matthew Kent's perspective. Now we'll watch Kevin Feams' perspective of this battle. Fleming finally going to get re-cleared here on that 00. But that 00 knows if he gets the run, he can be able to get fully the move completed. We'll check in on last stage point, right now in the hands of that man, Blake Galloway, in that purple and black 05. Feather Place looking to try to crash the party and put his car inside the top 10. Keeping an eye on how the drivers fired off. Keeping an eye on the playoff drivers. Josh Game, the only driver at the moment not knocking on the door of the top 10, currently sitting at the moment ways away, about 2 seconds back, here with Ryan Pinnell. Back up to we go here against Kent. He's trying to get clear and will get clear, so right now in a minute, Vordon beginning to struggle a little bit as he's beginning to fall back here on pace. Sorry about that. Just had to take a quick call there, as we do have a battle for the lead. We saw Matthew Kent have some trouble there off corner. Now we have to cut back to the lead here. We'll take a look at that in just a second. This is the big battle we have for the lead right now. Max 10 juicy stage points. Whoever can take this lead here. Marshall's reeled in Dale Markowski over this run. He is going to get clear of the driver of the 33. Oh, the 33 hits the wall just a little bit there. A little minor tap that could have ended painfully for both drivers there. Result in 16 almost get hooked on the nose. Both drivers get away as Markowski gives a little bit of a slight lift, knowing it's better to get 9 than it would be to end both your days and get nothing. One driver on the move is Brandon Featherplace at the moment, already up to 7th here. As he has made up over 6 spots, one of the biggest movers here tonight. Colin McDonough, the other highest at 5. As our biggest losers, obviously, Kevin Feemster, lengthy repair in pit lane here. So we'll take a look, see what happened to him in just a second when we get to the stage caution. We want to make sure everything runs out. Actually, we'll see if anything happens now. Usually we wait till a stage break or a caution, but we'll see what exactly happened to Kevin Feemster having to jump the pits, and you can already see some of the damage that affected that machine. So we're going to wind manually, as obviously it looks like it was way before this. So obviously this is right near the top 10. Oh, gets a little bit of a contact by the 34, and gets hooked on the left front there, and that causes him to end up getting hit in the wall, and that causes him to toe to pit lane. Real fast, we'll also check, again, rewatch what happened to Matthew Kent. As you can see here, battling side by side, just gets loose, almost takes out Battles, and he ends up going for a ride through the grass. Luckily, no real wear or damage on the car. However, he is going to fall back outside the top 10. So back to live action, we see right now Edward Marshall. He'll get, again, 1 bonus point for leading a lap, and he has still got Markowski hanging back and hanging tough right now, sitting in 2nd, but they have opened up a healthy gap to Bradley Wright, who sits in 3rd. You can see from this graphic here, over 1.65 seconds back to the top 2. And that stage right now belongs to Battles. Battles pretty comfortably ahead of Colin McDonough, so unless something crazy happens, I think the top 10 we currently see on track are the more than likely the top 10 that are going to get stage points. While we're looking away, Vordon was able to get around Chris Fleming. Now Fleming falling into the clutches of Blake Galloway here. Obviously, Vordon, as we've seen week in and week out, has a really good long run car. Some drivers are really good at the short run, others are good at the long run. We could definitely classify Vordon is a driver that's very good in the long run capacity. That car seems to come to life late in runs, while drivers like Edward Marshall, for instance, is a very good short run driver and getting the most life out of the car in the short run. As he reels down Bradley Wright here. Galloway getting a little bit pokey on Matt Vordon. Obviously, Galloway not in the final 8. Obviously, the window banner was not changed. Most drivers in the playoffs do have that red banner and red fenders, but obviously Galloway couldn't get the scheme updated, so he's not in the playoffs if you were keeping track at home. But one driver that is Featherplace, who will get that spot at the line, now in the top 5. We'll see if he can get clear. I think he looks clear as day here. He is. So now he's up to 5th place. And Fleming fighting for 6th here. We also have the battle just up the road with Wright and Vordon. We'll stand this just for a second. They got a pretty solid out, so we'll go back up to 3rd here. All in crucial points. You want to make sure you get that extra point if you can help it. Two to go in the stage here. Right up front, Marshall's open up about a 6/10 gap over Markowski. We want to stay in this battle here as it is close. And the driver really wants to give an inch. Featherplace there too, looking to capitalize. If they both kind of take each other through a path of ruin, it could open the door for Featherplace to make a run here. So white flag in the stage. We'll cut away just checking to show you again. Edward Marshall right now heading off into 1. Now we'll head back to this battle here. Chris Fleming is falling down the order, currently sitting at 9th, just trying to hang on. Does it come off of 4? Still neither driver giving an inch. We're going to cut just to show you Edward Marshall winning stage number 1 here. Back to the battle for third. Right is going to get the spot. As the rest begin to file in, Battles will get the last stage point in the stage here. As they all file off and file in, Edward Marshall will take glory and take victory here. We'll take a look at the stage results here for stage number 1. Edward Marshall will get a beautiful 10 points for his troubles. Dale Markowski will get 9 points and finishing second. Riley Wright will be third and get 8. Matt Vordon will get 7 points for finishing in fourth. Brandon Featherplace, already locked in, will get 6 points. Ross Baxter will get 5 points, again helping Bowie Esports out. Blake Galloway will come home in 7th. Brian Dixon 8th. Chris Fleming in 9th will get 2 points. And Josh Battles will get 1 lonesome point here in stage number 1, finishing 10th. Obviously, Gaiman, the only playoff driver, not to get any stage points, and I do wonder if anything happened to the CZW driver, as he obviously fell way off the pace start the stage, and he's currently sitting obviously in 16th here, and never really kind of truly was up in the pack here, which is odd, as Gaiman obviously, I wouldn't say he's the strongest of Vegas from his own recollection, but he's definitely someone that you would think would be running better than 16th. So only pit lane officially open. No cars obviously want to lap down other than Kevin Feemster, so he will get at least one of his multiple laps down back here by taking in the Lucky Dog. But other than that, though, pit lane is open, and all 19 cars will be coming on down. We'll see whose virtual crews can get the job done here and get their driver off in a formidable position. More importantly, will any drivers elect to roll the dice and take 2 tires? As we have seen that in the last couple of weeks, drivers taking a chance, taking 2, as they think a pit stop obviously is in the stage. Take 2 coming a little bit later. And Edward Marshall going to miss his box. That is going to hurt him here on the race off pit lane. They come out the race off pit lane. Marshall will win it. Wright will get second. Feather place for Don Baxter. Marshall going to lose at least 5 spots for his troubles. So he will come off in 6, just showing how one bad pit stop can affect you dearly. So as the rest file off here, Dale Markowski leading the way and heading onward. So at the moment, Markowski, Featherplace, Wright, Vordon, Baxter will be your top 5. Obviously, with not having really any lucky dogs, drivers taking wave rounds, should see the lights go on the pace truck this time by. Tommy Withers, long rank repair there in the Dollar Tree STP machine. Obviously, we saw that last night at High Banks Daytona in real life. Looks like he's got a little bit of some scratches on that right front, but looks like he'll just top it off, make sure the car is fixed up, and away he'll fire back out. So lights out on the pace truck. We have 19 cars still running. Looks like Kevin Feemster has officially taken it behind the wall, so he will no longer be participating here tonight. So 19 cars running. And it's going to be Markowski, Featherplace, row 1, Wright, Vordon, row 2, Baxter, Marshall, row 3, Fleming, Galloway, row 4, and Battles and Dixon, your 5 rows that will fire off. Obviously all cars took 4 tires. No one elected to take any 2 tires or not fill it up, so there's no real alt strategies here. It's just going to be pure speed. However, I will be intrigued to see how Featherplace does, as he obviously spent the first stage clawing his way back up from outside the top 10. Now going to be on the front row. We'll see how that 34 gets with this now possible clean track he will have. Pace truck pulls on off. Control will be on Markowski as we get this second stage going. Green flag is out, and away we go to start the second stage. Stage 2 will start the same way Stage 1 did, with Dale Markowski leading the opening lap. Feather placed under pressure from Verdon. Verdon came to life later in the stage. Edward Marshall also came to life early in the stage, and they're both going to get around the 34. Another driver you can say is a late bloomer is that 34, as he's another driver that really finds his pace as the run goes on. And that consistency works out, and he's able to kind of neutralize his mistakes while the drivers begin to struggle as the run continues. Verdon and Marshall will be side by side here to head off into one. Looking to try to clear here, and he can. He'll get ahead right now. Verdon will see if he tries to do the switchback here, get back on the low side, but looks like he won't be able to. And he'll settle at least for P3 for the moment. For the back, Ross Baxter and Blake Galloway here. They're battling for 7th. Bowie Esports, obviously having 3 cars inside the top 10 will help their constructors' runs. Obviously, we don't really fully bring up constructors' odds, as Bowie's kind of opened up a big gap, but for those keeping score at home, as obviously there is some benefit by when the constructors do get a little extra payout at the end of the season. At the moment, Bowie is about 100 plus points clear, as they are currently firing off. And at the moment, look poised to take another title for Toyota, as Galloway is all right, but Brian Dixon is going to get a little bit loose there and almost corrected into the front of the field. Now he's going to get swallowed by said field here. Fleming going to get clear, but right now, again, Josh Gaiman not fully able to get around, as he is going to be stuck behind the driver of the 05. A little bit further back here in the pack. Aggressive side drafting there by Gaiman, just trying to get around Smeal. It's pretty much close here as Ethan Wood right there. That car in that DeWalt 88 is the driver with the last stage point to his name. Get settled out here. We see obviously still some 2x2 action here, but they're getting settled out as well. We'll head back to the lead. Markowski's got about 2/10 lead over Marshall. We saw in stage 1, Marshall was able to reel down Markowski, but Markowski was keeping Marshall honest. I was kind of seeing that situation again. His last time by, Marshall ran about a 30-25, while Markowski ran a 30-32, and you kind of can see it by that difference there. Look how deep Marshall ran that corner in comparison to Markowski. We'll see if he does it again here, but leaving that extra space and extra time is just allowing Marshall to hit his marks here. So seeing it again, it was very deep in comparison to we see Markowski kind of feathering it a little bit in that middle groove. Here, we're keeping an eye on some things that are playing up. Here we see a 2x2 battle between the 38 McDonough and Ryan Pinnell. This is currently for 14th on track. At the moment, the only side-by-side battle we have, but as I say that, I see intervals getting close here. We're going to cut back up a third. Verdon has been reeled back in by Feather Place. Obviously, we do have in the timing booth here in ABN Studios, we do have a little interval ticker here that lets us know how close intervals are getting. If it's anything under about a 10th, it just shows you that they are getting within close battle perspective of battles. Like we do see it further back as Fleming saw him fall off in stage 1. He's found some new life on those fresh tires as he's trying to get into the top 6 here. Not getting that full exit off is going to hurt him, as we just see Galloway zoom by. And Fleming goes from trying to gain one spot, but then lose that spot for his own troubles. Three drivers fighting for the last 2 points in the stage. Kent currently 9th, battles 10th, Galloway 11th. Racing to lap 80 when they hit this lap this time by. 40 laps to go in the stage. Battles have been one of those drivers this season. As always, when the chips are down, he's found a way to advance the next round. This time he'll fall outside the top, match his car number currently in. But he's definitely a driver that can find that next gear, especially when he needs to. We'll see what he can do here as we have 40 laps to go in this stage and the pit stop's still looming. Further up, Fleming now under pressure here and will actually go on board with Brian Dixon. He's recovered nicely from that little incident he had earlier in this stage. Now he's gotten it back up to where he about was when he almost went and looped in front of the field. Kent trying to clear low. Fleming still trying to make that high line his. He's going to get a run. Look at Brian Dixon taking advantage. So cut to the gearbox camera here to see if we can see Kent. I think they're still side by side. They are. So you got to be clean with your moves and make sure you can smoothly do it. Because if you can't fully get the pass done, you see the effects that has is you can end up being kind of caught out here and open the door for someone else with these margins being so razor thin. We're going to head back up to the lead as right now Markowski is getting reeled down here by Edward Marshall. Marshall survived the challenge from Vordon a little bit. Now, oh, Markowski gets loose from the lead, coming up the road. Lock it down, lock it down. Yellow flag's out, but oh, Ryan Pinnell hits him. And we'll see how bad that is for damage stakes. But he was locking it down, just trying not to get hit. And he ends up getting plowed in the corner panel right there. Obviously, it could be all right depending on the damage, but Ryan Pinnell, it's going to be maybe less so as, yeah, the hood is officially up on that machine, now down. But overall, not the greatest. Just want to stand on board with him a second here to see if the hood re-pops. But yeah, very interesting lick there. So we'll take a look here. As we see right now, Ryan Pinnell just trying to get back around the pit lane. So obviously we'll have to start with Dale Markowski here, and obviously he's already sideways at this point. Looks like something else happened to Edward Marshall, so we'll have to check in a second too after the incident. So we're going to rewind here, just manually. And we're going to go with a nice eye in the sky cameras. It usually helps us kind of determine what happens here. And the question is, netcode? Did Markowski come down, or did Marshall run into him? Ooh, it's kind of hard to tell. It looked, yeah, there's the finishing touch. So obviously, Marshall finishes him off, but it looks almost for a second the 33 gets loose from the 16, and then it ends up kind of getting in front of the wave. So we'll take a look as he spins up the road here. Locking it down, just hoping not to get hit, and just Pinnell tried to go just low and just couldn't get low enough to avoid the incident. We'll take a second look. Obviously, I wish we could go just a tiny bit back. Obviously, good control by Raceco, trying to call the caution as early as you could to avoid him getting hit. Take a second look here from another angle. At that angle, it definitely shows Marshall gets into him, but I almost want to chalk it up to netcode. Yeah, just a big lick there again. So we'll go back up to the incident question, hopefully here. That's obviously at the point of the spin. We're not going to ride on board with the driver of the 16 and Edward Marshall. We're going to watch it from his perspective here, just to see if there's contact. Yeah, you can see Markowski. There is contact there, but you can also see Markowski kind of lifts a little bit, like the car is kind of kicking on his own. And we're just going to stay on Marshall for a second, because obviously it looks like something happened, but it looks like nothing of note. We'll check that just before we end these replays here, but it looks like he is relatively fine. Two more looks we'll take of this real fast. We want to make sure we get back before we don't miss anything. We'll ride on board with... We just try to get this camera right here. We'll ride on board here with Dale Markowski, and then we'll ride on board with Ryan Pinnell. So we'll go inside the cockpit of the 33, and yeah, it kicks loose just for a second, and then I think that gives Marshall nowhere to go. Very odd situation. And then one more time, we'll ride on board here with Ryan Pinnell, as he's a little bit further back.
Hang on, we're not going green. Not going
and just,
green.
yeah, nowhere to go, right into the back end. So back to live action. Obviously, Pinnell sitting on pit lane. Looks like we took a little bit too long in that replay, as we're going to get delayed one extra lap here to allow the field to get bunched up. We do have some real quick reports here. Is actually we can see the Some drivers staying out, some coming back in. That is why we'll be held here a lap. McDonough, Kent, Gaiman, Battles, Withers, Smeal, your top 6. All of them came in. McDonough took fuel only. Kent, Gaiman, and Withers took 2. Battles ended up taking 4, and his crew got him off quite nicely here, as I do see a 14-second stop for him. However, a handful of drivers looks like they also came in and topped off. Edward Marshall, Mark Dila, Ross Baxter, and the likes all came in to top off. Meanwhile, on pit lane, it is a healthy repair clock for both Markowski and Pinnell, as they've hit over 3 minutes on their clocks each, and they've both gone 1 down. Dila and Baxter, worth noting, coming in one more time here, as we have been delayed 1 more lap. So they are both coming in 1 more time. Makes you wonder, we know we're close to the fuel number here. Are they trying to stretch it? So we'll recycle here. Obviously, we took just a tiny bit long, but we're back just in time. So McDonough, Kent, Gaiman, Battle, Smeal, Withers, Marshall, Johnson, Featherplace, Vordon. Your top 10. McDonough, Kent, and Withers, and Gaiman. Sorry, let me try this again. McDonough got fuel only. Kent, Gaiman, Withers took at least 2 tires. I think Withers may have took fuel only. Brian Johnson also took fuel only in 7th. Meanwhile, Smeal and Battles took 4, but didn't come back in on the next lap to top off. Meanwhile, everyone else from Featherplace on down came in on lap 44 and took 4 tires. Ethan Wood and Mark Deal and Ross Baxter came in on 45 and topped off and took some fresh tires. Ryan Pinnell, Dale Markowski, 4 minutes on the clock. They've gone at least 2 laps down. Only retirement so far still is Kevin Feemster. So we'll see how the fuel-only 2-tire strategies work here. And more importantly, do some of these drivers that have not topped off, will they have enough fuel to make to the end of the stage? Green flag is out, and away we go to start stage 2. Good launch there by the 15 of Kent. Gaiman also going to get a good launch as well. We'll see McDonough kind of struggle on those old tires. Going to fall back here to 3rd. It was going to get in 4th. Question is now, with the fresh tires, how quickly can they curve their way up to the field? As Marshall's one of the first drivers on those fresh tires. Ooh, look at how aggressive he's running there, just trying to get that extra time. He knows time is money, and he wants to make sure he gets up there and gets as many points as he can. That lap will be led by Matt Kent. Obviously, he'll get a bonus point because it will help him in the playoff predictions. But at least get 1 lap for his troubles. Gaiman trying to get a run. High-low. There's Tommy Withers as well. Going to get a run on Josh Gaiman. So Gaiman going to lie. Kent going to kind of cover off Withers here. He'll be side-by-side for the lead. And Gaiman going to get clear. So put Gaiman with his 2 tires to the lead of this race. And he'll get 1 bonus point for his troubles as well. Oh, but look at that car park we got further back here. Kent 3 wide, cars fanning out. Kent going to clear off right in front of the 39 machine. He's going to get a little contact for his troubles. He'll save it, but he's going to check up that low line. Withers, and we're actually going to have a caution. Oh, as he battles, end up going around Featherplace. Oh, double contacts. So caution came out. Not directly sure. Obviously, we saw the incident in question play out. 34 obviously involved, and the 11 also involved as well. Obviously, I assume it's for what we were watching there. However, we'll see if it's, I think it may be a little bit further back. I think something happened with Fleming and Vordon, and this was just an indirect piece of what we were watching. So we're going to go back here. So we're going to watch Chris Fleming and Vordon as they pop up first in my box of information here. Oh! Yeah, that may explain the caution. That's the reason the caution came out, and this is a side effect of what happened after that. So it looks like Vordon right kind of combined, and Vordon got shot up right into Chris Fleming. We'll take a second look. This time we'll go a little bit of a wider angle and play it at a slower speed. So there's the 00. Coming a little bit low. Right there. Oh, netcode, because there's no contact, but that is definitely netcode that gets the 00 loose, and then ping-pongs 00 into the 38. At that point, they have it saved, but then obviously they just get kind of stuck together again. They both end up hitting the inside walls, and they just kind of netcode. However, that's just one piece here. So obviously, we'll go a little bit further into this incident. Obviously, that incident didn't really have much effect what happened to Matthew Kent, but we'll go now watch Kent here as they head off into this corner. Kent gets a little shunt there by McDonough. They get straightened out, but the 43 then gets loose, and the 11 gets loose. They contact, 11 shoots up the road, Ethan Wood gets in, and then obviously the 34 nowhere to go as well. So one checkup just kind of has a reverse effect there. Ends up taking a couple more cars out. Watch also 34 here of Feather Place, as he's obviously going to have a piece of this as well. So we'll actually, we're going to go with the hood camera here. We're just going to rewind here. So there's the checkup right there with the 15 That calls the inside line checkup, and then the bumpers get loose. They're trying to space it out, and just 11 just gets a little bit loose. They both hit each other, and that ends up causing the 34 to get kind of sideways here. Luckily, though, no major damage for him, and he'll be able to fire it back off. So back to live action as we see the race off pit lane here. Verdon and Battles both will beat the pace truck and will stay on the lead lap. At the moment, it looks like Markowski's day is officially done. Yeah, he is now taken behind the wall, so Markowski's night is officially over. And safe to assume as well with him, even with the stage points he's gotten coming in today behind the line, it's more than likely he is going to end up finishing outside the playoff spots here, and he will also be sadly going home, meaning now we'll have 5 drivers fighting over 3 spots. Speaking of those 2 drivers trying to fight right now, we got Marshall and Gaiman. They'll be in row number 1, firing off in the front row. Obviously, Gaiman needs stage points here as he crucially got no points in stage 1, while a lot of his other rivals ended up getting points. Even allowed Bourdon to jump him at the end of stage 1. Obviously, we'll give a playoff update where everyone lies going into stage 2, at the end of stage 2, but Gaiman is really in need of getting some stage points here. So as the pace truck pulls off, control will be on Gaiman. We'll see if his 2 tires can beat Marshall's 4.
Green flag.
Green flag is out, and away we go. Give or take 26 laps to go in the stage. Marshall going to go low, cover off McDonough. See if he can get the grass restart, but was able to come down low. Almost a hip check between Smeal and Galloway. They're both going to keep it going in the right direction. Ooh, Mark Dila gets stuck in the wall there. See if he's okay. We saw a fender fly, but it looks like ended up being a virtual glitch, not an actual performance glitch. Meanwhile, though, he is going to get passed here by 2 cars. Oh, Baxter! Oh, right, almost hits Feather Place into Wood. And that is going to be our caution here, so a bit of Nostradamus moment. Dila is going to be the cause of our caution here, along with Ethan Wood. Just a rough spot as both cars are kind of fighting over the same spot on track. So obviously we saw it from the live perspective. We'll take just another look at this again. And I'm going to rewind just a tiny bit, because obviously we saw that thing fly off Dila, but I think that was just a visual glitch. So we'll play it from here, obviously about a straightaway away. Dila blinks a couple times. That's probably what's going to cause the virtual problem there. Or he does hit the wall anyway, and that slows him down a little bit. That allows the 51 to get a good run here. Baxter follows suit. Baxter hits him, and that shoots him down the track right into Ethan Wood, who was just an innocent bystander in that situation. And he ends up getting a piece. We'll take 2 looks. This time we'll focus on the 22 of Ross Baxter. We'll go on board with him. And we'll wind just a bit. Wish we had just a little bit further back. So we'll play it here. Calling Baxter. We'll see. He gets a run. Just can't fully get there. There's the corner panel, and he ends up, shooting Dila down in the wood. We'll take one more look. This time we're right on board with Ethan Wood, and we'll go inside the cockpit as he's just going to be an innocent bystander in this situation. He's minding his own business, and next thing you know, gets hit checked into the grass. And then just, Oh, big shunt there. Right on the outside wall through the tri-oval. We'll see if any... Yeah, you can see the front end is heavily caved in. We'll see if any of that damage is terminal for either driver. Back to live action. Looks like Wood is relatively... Dila is relatively okay. Ethan Wood, on the other hand, is currently in pit lane trying to get that 88 DeWalt machine fixed out. Matt Vordon, obviously, with that previous incident damage, he's also in pit lane fixing up his car. Josh Battles as well. So, handful of playoff drivers having some problems here. Their cars are a bit wounded. This can open the door for other drivers to try to capitalize. So we should see the one to go this time by. 14 cars on the lead lap. 17 cars still running, as I think Vordon will meet the count here. Dila going to come on in. We'll see if Ethan Wood continues. Only 3 technical retirements in Ryan Pennell, Dale Markowski, and Kevin Feemster. Meanwhile, Ethan Wood will not beat the count, so he will go at least 1 down. Obviously, here comes Mark Dila. Got the less damage of the 2, as he obviously... Neither car was really overly wounded from the contact. It was mostly just the aftermath. But he will come on in and fix his number 80 Fanatec machine up. But up front, it's still the Game and Marshall show. So obviously, like we did allude to, we will give you an update on the points when the stage 2 ends, so we can kind of fully understand the picture we're going into the final stage. But like I said, the race is still on to lead the most laps, and if we can really pull the laps lead screen, obviously 8 for Gaiman, 14 for Edward Marshall. I think he's currently leading. Yeah, none for Feather Place. 7 for Smeal, 0 for Galloway. Kent had 3, Markowski got 28, but I think that will be beat at the pace we're going. So, could be subject to the change, but right now it is still in Markowski's grasp. But at the moment, that could be changing. So anyway, pace truck going to pull on off. Hope we can get a few green flag laps in here as we fire back off. Green flag is out again, and away we go. There by Mark, the 3061 at Gaiman. We'll fire off in first. McDonough, obviously, remember, is still on those old tires that he got from the first stage break. He's been able to stay towards the front. Again, that's always food for thought these drivers use is as we get into these runs and get into these stages, drivers put this information in the back of their mind knowing, all right, how long's the fuel run? Can I make 2 tires work? Can I make 4 tires work? How does my car feel? Right now, McDonough's showing that at least if we get a good amount of cautions, you can, at the very least, make a no-tire call work. However, though, he's going to get split here. 3 wide for 3rd. As Galloway is currently going to try to close the door, and he'll get in front of him. Almost get some contact there from McDonough. Dixon, though, going to get that 0-3 up to position 3. Galloway in 4th. Now Smeal holding it down for Smeal Racing Designs. Trying to make a late charge to catch Bowie. He's going to get in the top 5 here. Obviously, watching these battles play out here. Matthew Kent at the moment trying to get around McDonough. Obviously, Fleming trying to get the corner panel of Smeal. This outside we're seeing here for 5th. Can Fleming get fully clear? Can, so put Fleming up the 5th spot. Now Kent trying to get something done here on McDonough. Obviously, any fuel concerns, we're about to hit lap 61 here, any fuel concerns for the drivers that came in at 43 should be quelled, as more than likely they'll have the extra fuel reserves to make it to the end of the stage here.
McDonough going to try to hold down here, go high, low, try to clear backs, try to keep it from Kent. Try to make that car Logano wide. Pull that charge off for the time being. Back up front, though. Right now, Gaming getting reeled down by Marshall. And for the viewers that remember at home, Marshall came in at 43, took 4 tires, and fixed up his car a little bit for the damage he got in the Markowski exchange. Meanwhile, Gaiman took 2, so theoretically the advantage over the longer run should favor Marshall. At the same point, Dixon's on 4 and Galloway's on 4 as they both came in at 44 for 4 fresh tires for both. So Gaiman's kind of in a league of his own right now on those 2 tires. Ooh, almost saw the 43 get a little bit loose there. Stay this just for a second. We're going to go back there. So I thought that, oh, yep, it's getting loose. I was going to say, I thought it kicked out of 1, 2, and it did. Or at the very least, now it kicks in 3. Everyone will take evasive action. Something is obviously wrong in that 43. Those cars don't usually just kick like that without a reason. And he was all alone. So Withers going to end up falling back here. Obviously, we'll see if there's any, see if it kicks again here just for a second. It looks like something is, because we saw him have a long repair clock in pit lane. We do wonder if maybe something possibly is broken in the machine. Speaking of cars just trying to limp to the finish line, we got Matt Fordon here, who I think has gotten some, something is wrong in that machine. We saw him get that wall tap of Fleming. We do wonder maybe the engine's depowered here, as he is putting down times that are 30.99.5, which aren't comparatively bad. But it's still about half a second back, so we're going to quickly go inside the car here. We assume he's got enough fuel, but let's just listen in real fast, see if he's lifting. He's lifting, but he's not lifting, I would say, enough to assume he's trying to save. Meanwhile, let's check Gaiman as he fires off here in a 1, just to show you the speed differential. He hits at about 190 coming down the straight, and then we'll check Fordon. He's going about 3 mph slower, so again, maybe some slight engine damage in that 00. Obviously, the thing that could be a saving grace, though, right now is a lot of the playoff drivers having problems here. Could give him the fight to stay in. Up the road, Battles trying to clear McDonough. This is the battle for 11th. Jump there, still side by side. So he's actually going to zoom on back. As they continue on, we're going to go up the road. Chris Fleming is all right, but John Smeal's under pressure from Ross Baxter. Baxter get around Smeal, so that'll put Baxter now up to 6th. Smeal down 7th. Up the road, though, we see again Gaiman getting caught by Marshall. Marshall could win both stages. I would say he's pretty much probably going to be locked in the final 4. Obviously, we'll check the math at the end of the stage, but he came in above the line. Right now, at the moment, tied with Seth Wanzing, who was 15 points above the line coming into tonight. And obviously, with field and the point differential, as long as he finished, he should theoretically be good. So I can't say it for certainty, but if he can get another 10 max points and other drivers fall in different spots, we could see theoretically Marshall point his way into the final 4 and be one of the drivers that points their way in, and maybe some other drivers that want to point their way in, hoping they find victory. Well, he wins the race instead, I should say. We'll go on board with the 6, that's 61, we'll go on board with 16. Just trying to get those runs, just trying to pin the corner here. 61 holding low, Marshall getting a decent run here. Gonna stick it high. Just can't fully get complete. Is it running about even times. Last time by, they ran pretty much a 30-50 for the both of them. So now the driver really getting an extra edge, and this is where picking your lines, picking different lines can play a factor. Will that 16 elect to try to maybe change it up? But he's gone high, he's gone low, and hasn't really been able to do anything to get around that number 61. This time, though, he's going to go low, and he's going to have a bit of a clean track here to do something. He just can't get the exit he needs, but that just cut a good tenth or two, or I can even say a couple's tenth of a second into that as well. So we'll stay on this battle for now. Obviously, a little bit further back, Kent has just gotten around John Smeal. We don't want to miss anything for the lead, as this is obviously implications of the playoffs. If Gaiman were to win, theoretically, Marshall would also point his way in. Obviously, we still have a full stage to go, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But if Gaiman gets 10 points, that would make up for him getting no points in stage number 1. Meanwhile, if Marshall get 10 points, that theoretically should probably put himself in a spot where he'll be fighting for a championship next 2 weeks' time at Michigan. This time by 6 laps to go. And they do get a little bit of scrapping. Don't look now. Brian Dixon, Blake Galloway, they're third and fourth. They're running times in the same ballpark as our current race leader, Josh Gaiman and Edward Marshall. 30-60s for both Dixon and Galloway. Faster than both Gaiman and Marshall, respectively, at a 36.2 and a 36.7. Check the times again here. 5 to go in the stage. Fastest car on track will be Brian Dixon again, 35.2 for the Bowie Esports driver. Next fastest was Marshall, then it was Gaiman. Four laps to go. Can Dixon do another fast lap here out of the 3? He will. 35.7 for Brian Dixon. So he's running maybe not faster, but fast enough. Meanwhile, Marshall trying to get on that corner panel, just can't get it to stick. I think there's a good chance here. If they get side by side, this could be the thing that gets Dixon a chance to win this stage. 4 to go. What can Marshall do to try to get a run here? Again, that turn 1 seems to be where he feels the most confident, but he just can't get the run off. He goes in deep, but just can't get the run off he needs. Well, further back, Fleming has caught Galloway, and if Fleming's able to get around, that could give him 1 extra point. 2 to go. Obviously, pit lane is now officially closed, even though no one will probably come in and pit. But if you have to take service now, you'll go to the tail end of the longest line. Oh, we see Marshall going high side here. Oh, maybe going to do a switchback. That's the best run he's had so far of these last 15 to 20 laps. He's going to be side by side heading into the corner. Can he get the drive off he needs? Keeping it clean, keeping it friendly. Gaiman will lead that lap. 1 to go in the stage. We know turn 1's the favorite of Marshall. He's going to drive it in deep. Can he slide up? He can. Can Gaiman maybe try an over-under here? Marshall to the lead. Does Gaiman have anything heading off into 3? Looks like Gaiman's just not going to have enough here, as he's going to lose just enough time. As they come up for Marshall, took him to the last lap, but that's all you need. Stage 2 goes to the 16. Gaiman second, Dixon third. Galloway, Fleming, Baxter, and Briley Wright will get the last stage point, sitting in P number 10. So we'll take a look at stage 2 results here. So we do have to do some quick math here. So obviously, 10 bonus points going to Edward Marshall. Josh Gaiman ended up going to get 9. Brian Dixon will get third and get 8. Blake Galloway 7 points in 4th. Chris Fleming will get 6 points, sitting in 5th. 5 points for Matthew Kent, 4 for John Smeal, 3 for Brian Johns. Actually, 1. I think I did the math wrong there. Marshall gets 10, Gaiman gets 9, Dixon gets 8, Galloway gets 7, Chris Fleming gets 6, Ross Bassett gets 5, Matthew Kent gets 4, John Speed will get 3, Brian Johnson would get 2, and Briley Wright would get 1. So only a couple playoff drivers get points. Some notable drivers that didn't get points that were still on the track: Josh Battles, Matt Fordon, obviously Brandon Featherplace, obviously not really needing the points, but still not going to finish outside the top 10, finishing 13th. So pit lane officially open. Obviously, you can see Gaiman down there. He's definitely coming in. It's pretty much going to be everyone is going to be coming in, as obviously service is pretty much going to be required here. We'll go to the nice pit lane camera. We'll keep an eye on who pulls in. Yep, there's Edward Marshall. There's Josh Gaiman. Pretty much the rest of the field should be filing in here. Everyone that's running at the moment is still on the lead lap, so no one will have to take the wave around or get the lucky dog. And obviously, we saw last time by Marshall slid his box. That cost him a couple spots. We'll see now here if he can get it in on the right marks. And he should. And obviously, won't have to worry about a pullout, as obviously Markowski no longer ahead of him. He's going to have a clean track just to pull out, too. Ooh, Gaiman going to roll the dice. Fuel only. Odd choice, but he's away. Marshall, Fleming, Galloway, Dixon, Baxter, Kent, Smeal, Johnson. The rest of the way here. So as they fire out here, Gaiman going to take the lead. Obviously, an odd call not to take tires, but maybe he knows something we don't. Anyway, to go over right now how the bonus points slide and how everything looks at the moment. Currently, the 4 drivers in. Brandon Featherplace, who's obviously advanced. Edward Marshall is currently in at the moment. And he has a health at 4071. Just to make sure I got everything mapped out here. Currently at the moment, Marshall's about 15 above the cut line. Seth Wanzing, obviously second. It looks like actually Gaiman may have missed his box. He is in again, or maybe he forgot to check something. So he's back in again. So it looks like it was a bit of a mistake. So he'll have to go to town. We'll go back to the end part of the line. But real fast, just want to finish up the points here. Seth Wanzing still currently in at the moment, but obviously he won't get any points for today, so he will fall out. Josh Gaiman, next car in at 40.56. And then last driver in right now is a dead tie between Fordon and Markowski. It's Matt Fordon currently tied with Markowski. Obviously, with Markowski no longer getting points, this could still switch up, though, and obviously Fordon can't go any higher. What could play a factor here is at the moment, I think Markowski still has the lap led, 28 laps. I think Marshall's at 18, and then Gaiman is at 31. So actually no longer even has that point. So right now, as it shakes, the 4 drivers in are Marshall, Gaiman, and Fordon. But Fordon is far enough back that he could still possibly fall behind Wanzing if he can't finish high enough the field. So we'll have to keep an eye on the math here. But right now, theoretically, with the 4 cars on track, it's Featherplace, Marshall, Gaiman, Fordon. But Fordon hopes his car is strong enough that he can maybe try to leapfrog Wanzing, who maybe has just enough of a gap to survive. Anyway, we'll fire off here again. Marshall will take us to the flag here. We'll get this final stage going here. And don't count out Chris Fleming. He's on that front row. If he wins, he would lock his way in.
Green flag.
Green flag is out, and let's get this final stage underway. So Edward Marshall will lead the opening lap of the final stage. Big battle here for second, Fleming and Galloway. We talked about how important a win would be for Fleming here. He wants to lead at the very least to get that bonus point. Side by side. Again, the going gets tough. Some drivers find their footing. And he is going to get clear of our race leader. And that is more than likely going to get him 1 extra bonus point. Obviously,
That will put him ahead of his teammate Josh Battles, but that's still going to put him about 10 points away from Matt Vordon. But with Vordon being so far down, I think there's still a good chance he can point his way in. Because that 00 is still not fully up to speed, and he is just going to have to hang on here in 16th. Just show you real fast. Yeah, he is in 16th, and he is not keeping up with pace. So the more cars stay in this race, the better it will be for Fleming. And maybe give him enough points to point his way in. But that one bonus point will help him out here. As the cars file in, Fleming, Galloway, Dixon, Kent side by side with Marshall. Makes you wonder, Marshall possibly saving some gas here? You don't usually see him fall that far back. Time was a 30.32 in comparison to someone else running 30.07s to the high 30.10s. Obviously a bold take to save it, but if we look at the math, we saw him go about 40. They came in and topped off about 42, 43, and saw some extras kind of pull it out. So that's only about, I would say 20-25 is still kind of a bold number. So you split it in half from 88 to 160. You're going to about 120 and then trying to make the 160, but can you comfortably make it 40 laps, which we saw him do at the end of the last stage with some extra help with fuel saving. Marshall and Kent are going to be side by side here, heading off into the corner. Oh, Josh Gaiman sideways. Josh Gaiman still sideways. I think he hip checked Dila. But both cars going to keep it pointing in the right direction. So Gaiman going to get it fired back up. Gaiman, again, can't rest on his laurels. The moment he's in, he's got a decent gap to the bubble line that's currently Vordon, which is 7 points. However, he's technically ahead of him, so he should be okay, but at the same point, can't wreck the car, or that could really put him behind the ball. Up front, Fleming still leading the way. Marshall side by side here for fourth. And you all see in the far shot, Smeal and Wright. It's almost been like the ultimate wildcard race because this race has been flipped on its head. Watch this battle here play out. Can Kent fully get clear? He can. Meanwhile, Wright almost thought he was going to try to make a 3 wide there with Johnson and Smeal. And I think Johnson's going to take the big advantage here. 2 abreast, Johnson, Smeal, Wright, Withers. Wright trying to split the difference again. He's got the speed, but the problem is you can't really fit a car in a full car in a gap that maybe fits half a car. Meanwhile, don't look now. Gaiman crawling his way back to the top 10 here. Oh, I think he's going to try to make a 3 wide. Is he going to try to split Wright? Maybe not the most conventional, especially when you need points. You don't want to junk it. But Gaiman's never a driver that doesn't not take chances here. Ooh, Johnson on the apron. He's going to check it out here as he's gotten a little loose. He's going to fall back. Pretty much give everyone an extra spot here. All right, almost cleared himself in front of Gaiman. Oh, and almost clips Withers. So Wright going to lose some spots here as well. This game moves forward. We're going to head back up to the lead as it's getting close. Galloway, Dixon, Kent, Marshall, and obviously our race leader Fleming have kind of pulled a distance to 6th place Gaiman. Now Gaiman leads that train. Can he make something much different happen? Worth noting, in this top 5, 3 of these drivers who were to win, they would be technically considered a spoiler, as we almost see Dixon and Kent come to blows. I'd say the driver that has the most to lose in this battle, I would say, is maybe Marshall, but Marshall also has that big stage point deficit. I can say advantage, I should say, that should theoretically overcome any major mistakes he may have.
see Marshall trying to challenge back here, finding that late run in that car. So we'll watch this battle here. Just give me 60 seconds, and I'll be back in just 6 seconds. So we'll keep the action going. So you watch right now the battle for seconds. So do not go anywhere. I'll be back in just 60 seconds. Not enjoying that little break we just had, was keeping still an eye on the battle for third. As Dixon and Marshall begin the battle out, some separation begins to play a little bit further back. Battles just almost hit that wall there. I think he got slightly contacted. As it is basically a fight back here. As cars are jostling for position. Featherplay is going to be the big winner along with Battles. Baxter needs a good run. Same thing with Battles, but Battles right now just not trending in the right direction. As we heard about the hit magical lap 100, Chris Fleming has opened about a half a second lead. He comes off to 4. He's going to lead magical lap 100, and that's going to give us 60 laps to go here. 61, I should say, as they come around. While Dixon will hold off the charge, Marshall getting to struggle a little bit here. Don't look now. Josh Gaiman. He's reeling in this little pack. Obviously, the lone ranger for Dirty Air Motorsports to try to get them in the Final Four. Only had one entry in the playoffs in the Final 8, including, actually had 0 before, obviously, what happened with Hagen. Now have 1. Same thing with Smeal Racing Designs, Vordon being their lone soldier. He is trying to catch back up after making a mistake during the second pit stop window there. And he's now caught the tail end. Mark Dila coming on in at laps with 60 to go here. We'll see if it's scheduled or not, but worth noting he is in, but I think it's still too early for anyone to really pit. Another lap led for Fleming. And remember, the magical number is 32 to get the extra bonus point. At the moment, 17 for Fleming. The bar currently set by Josh Gaiman. Almost says we're at the calm for the storm, but don't tell that to the boys back here. Smeal, right, back, so they can't fully get separated from each other. They are battling and battling hard. A playoff drama back here, though. Marshall is caught back up to Dixon and will get around, so Marshall find that late run here. Marshall at least got one spot. Looking at the times last time by, just kind of looking over my playoff board here to see, trying to do some forward math. At the moment, we'll check the times as they come across the line here, see who's trending in the right direction. Fastest on track is a dead tie between Fleming, Galloway, and Kent at the 35-8 bracket. Remember, everyone is pretty much within a tenth or two, like a couple millimeters of each other, as next closest was Marshall at 30-60. Only slowest driver in this pack was Gaiman at 30.70. So everyone is still pretty much running similar times. Meanwhile, keeping an eye further back here, for Don thought he was running down Withers, but it flashed for a second. I think that may have just been a technical glitch, so I was going to point out, if he gets an extra spot right now, is obviously he's ahead of Dila, who looks like it was a scheduled spark for Mark Dila. Was scheduled, but at the same point, you never know. So second, third, fourth, fifth, all in a blanket. And Matthew Kent going to pit, so I think we have a two-stop on our hands. He's coming way hot. We'll check to see if he made it. I think he should be good, but that was very aggressive on the entry there to try to find an extra time, which is something you can do to get that little extra time to make a run in. So we're going to keep an eye on him for a second. See what he elects to take. I assume 4 tires is the call here if you're coming in again. Jack's up on the right side. We'll see if Jack goes up on the left side. And it does. 4 tires is the call. Josh Gaiman also in as well. Just want to see if he gets buzzed for speed. He did not. He made it in cleanly. Josh Gaiman also in as well. Will stay in the wide shot. There he is. 4 tires and fuel for him, as obviously he is now officially in, but he will also go 1 down as well. So if caution were to come out, could be hurtful. But this kind of opens the door in the sense that I don't think we'll see them make it without another stop. Obviously, I could be wrong on my numbers, but considering we saw them trying to top off on 43-44, and we're not kind of halfway in the stage yet, and they went to about 54, 64, 74, 84, about 30-ish laps. Looks like we'll have one more stop here, so it looks like we'll have to make 2 more stops. Well, 1 more stop after this stop for the runners that are currently coming in. But so far, again, no major blinkers yet. Ryan Dixon, another driver pitting in. Ron, Brandon Featherplace, Ross Baxter, looks like Bowie Esports, all coming in at the same time. They are all in on the track, along with Bradley Wright. Not Bowie, but coming in all the same. Let's see. Gaiman did take 4 tires. Had a lengthier stop, though. 17 seconds for Gaiman. That could hurt him, as he needed a quick stop. Personal best for Matthew Kent, so obviously those new tires are working a treat. Chris Fleming, our race leader, is in. He will pit. Josh Battles will also pit, so this is Black Ass Racing's magical number. They are in. They'll hand the lead off to Edward Marshall, who's in a battle with Blake Galloway. So when the whole cycle pits out here, we'll check to make sure, we'll check how everyone's looking, we'll check the numbers, and we'll try to give a quick updated percentage graph of where everyone is. The way both Battles and Fleming go without trouble, they both took 4 tires. McDonough in a battle here with Smeal. Battle here play out. Edward Marshall just pitted. He is in. That will hand the lead off to Galloway. Assuming it's going to be 4 times fuel. I don't think anyone can stretch it. However, the closer we get to 40, it does make me wonder if anyone may try it. Because again, driver's last came in at 81, and the flip back over to the lap situation. 91, 01, 111, that's 32, 33 laps. So keep that in mind as we are at laps to go, 47. So it's unlikely, but the closer we can get to that number, the more you can get to it. Matt Fordon won't be able to stretch it. He is in this time by. I think Galloway was kind of going slow on the stretch. We'll see if he's coming in. Yep, he is now officially in as well. So Galloway will pit. Will Brian Johnson stay out another lap? He will not. So this pretty much signifies to me that we are going to the end. We'll see one more pit stop here, I should say. McDonough, currently leads the way. Smeal in second. At the moment, when they cycle through, Kent right now will be our race leader, as the undercut has rewarded him the position. Gaiman in second. Then will be Fleming, Dixon, and Mark Dila, your top 5, as Dila's under pressure from Ross Baxter. So that's how it should cycle through when everyone's said and done. McDonough is in, Smeal is in, so that confirms to me the 2-stop is the way to go. And Matthew Kent will take the race lead. Kent's been knocking on the door this season, trying to find victory. We'll see if he can do it. Fastest lap of the race from Edward Marshall, as he's taking advantage of these fresh tires and using them to his treat. Oh, look at that, 4 wide, as Galloway was coming up on the track here after coming out of pit lane. So as Rest File in, we'll keep an eye on him as he is flying, and he's going to get around Ross Baxter here. So that's going to put him in 5th, about a 1.5 seconds back, up for 2nd. They're about 3 and some change away from Matthew Kent. The one thing worth noting is about 3 to 4 lap difference between Kent and Fleming, and 3 laps to Gaiman. So those tires, actually, it's a 1 lap difference from Kent to Gaiman, but a 3 lap difference from Fleming, a 4 lap difference from Fleming to Kent. So those tires, especially in the longer run, are going to play for the drivers that went long. This play on at the moment with how they run. Right now, worth noting is how they run. Chris Fleming is up by 1 point over Matt Vordon, who is the last spot in the playoffs at the moment. So right now, as they run, Marshall, Gaiman, Fleming would be your top 4. And with Vordon kind of being in the loneliest spot right now, having a wounded car just limping around, he's got to hope for some help, or he's got to hope some other drivers start pulling off, because he's not going to advance his position with how his car is. He is just underpowered. Right now, as they run, it's a 1 point difference between Fleming and Vordon in favor of Fleming, all thanks to that bonus point he got from leading that lap. So as long as nothing overly changes here, that's how the top 4 is shaking up. Though Fleming is under pressure from Dixon. They are reeling in Matthew Kent, though. Gap is now, we'll go real fast to show you. Gap is 2.83. But right now, Dixon going to make a move on Fleming. Oh, running it close. I don't know if Fleming knows his situation or not. Don't even know if he wants to know, but right now that is going to put him now in a dead tie with Edward Marsh, a dead tie with Matt Vordon for the last spot. Here comes, speaking of Edward Marshall, there he is in the mirrors. Fleming not showing that pace he had on the opening final stage here. Marshall really coming to life here. Oh, too wide. Fleming trying to run it as hard as he can. Marshall, look at that move. Hangs it around the outside. Gets a 2-for-1 special. And now he is up in the 3rd. As he is going to try to catch up to Josh Gaiman, who's about 6/10 up the road there. Meanwhile, we're keeping an eye on this battle between Fleming and Dixon, because right now this is crucial. Yeah, right now Fleming will fall a spot back. And that means right now Vordon is back in. we're keeping an eye on this, and keep an eye on Blake Galloway, because he is also reeling in this pack too. And it makes you wonder, as we do have one more pit stop on the horizon, what would you do? Is an undercut the available call? Do you go late and try the freshest tires? Right now, it looks like fresh tires work. Well, at the same point, though, if you can get far enough ahead, especially if you got 2 tires, can that work as well? Especially when it's razor-thin margins. Right there, the Fleming will get back in. It's going to be that dead heat with Vordon. And I think, technically, we'd have to count back to last week's race victory where Vordon finished last week. See if it's enough. Dixon going to fight off here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 all on the track. Up front, it's still the Matthew Kent show. As he's now putting Vordon a lap down. Again, there's times like this, I'd be glad to be Brandon Featherplace. He did his work. He's in. No matter what happens, he is through. So he has nothing to worry about other than just helping Bowie here tonight. And he's right now cruising in 7th. Galloway, Dixon, they're fighting for 6th. Keep an eye on the Kent game and intervals as they fall. But right now, nothing major to report. We're actually on board with Blake Galloway just to show you. They're all on our screen right now. That middle car there is Vordon, not a car in position. That was a Kent's the further one up the track there. And actually Vordon coming back in again. Obviously not a scheduled stop as he has come back in again. I just wonder if he's not going to go any further up. Wouldn't it be smart for him to come back in? Maybe he's trying to undercut, get some extra time. This is crucial. If he's pulling behind the wall, his highest spot will be 16th. And that's the bar the rest of the field will have to pit. Or the rest of the playoff field will have to beat. Just going to keep an eye on him just for a second, just to see what he's doing. Oh, he's topping off with fuel, and out he goes. He will be away he goes. So he's still going to putt on and hope he can make something happen here. Don't look now. Gaiman and Co. are reeling in the field. We still have one more pit stop looming. But Gaiman, Marshall, and the rest have brought this down to 1.5 seconds. And we know the closer we get to the end, Gaiman's taking 2 tires. I don't think anyone in this lobby is going to be shocked. Anyone watching this race is going to be shocked if Gaiman takes 2 tires here. It's almost I wouldn't say the correct call, but I will say that's the call he's doing regardless of the situation. He's putting 2 tires on this thing. And it makes me wonder for the rest. Fleming finding some speed here late. Like I said, every position matters. Heck, there isn't a point where maybe you want to go for the fastest lap because that gets you an extra point. Which currently right now is in the hands of... I think it's Ross Baxter. It is Ross Baxter. Actually, yep, it's Ross Baxter and Edward Marshall, a dead tie. I think they're going to give it to Marshall just because I think he said it earlier, but still, right now they're a dead tie. So 29 laps to go. Kent still leading the way. Gaiman's coming, and he's bringing Marshall, Fleming, and Dixon with him. Mark Deala just came in for what I assume is his final stop. He was the first driver to pit to start the final window. But obviously with this one being a bit more crucial, some drivers may elect to go later and try to take advantage of the fresh tires they have if they have an extra set. Galloway, he's going to come in. He wants the undercut. He'll be the first of the major runners in. He is in. So now the question is, who comes in next? And more importantly, if you come in, do you take 4 or do you take 2? Featherplace reeling in Dixon, his team, and he is finding some late run speed here. Yep, Matthew Kent, while we were watching that, is pitted. He is pit from the race lead. The undercut got him the lead. He is going to stick with it. We are going to watch him real fast just to see what he elects to take. 2 or 4, what is the call for the Lone Star native? Jack is up for 2. Is he taking 4? He will. It's 4 tires is the call for the driver of the 15, hoping that will be what gets him to the promised land. Edward Marshall and Josh Gaiman have both pitted as well. Gaiman's in his box first, so I want to see what he does. 2 or 4 for him. 4 tires for him. 4 tires, I assume, for Marshall as well. Yep, 4 tires for both. Race off pit lane. Gaiman should come out ahead. He will. Chris Fleming back in the lead at the moment. Fleming, Feather Place, Baxter, Dixon, Wright, your top 5. All yet to come in for the final stop, and the longer they go, the more likely I think they're taking 2. And there goes Fleming, and here comes Feather Place. You don't want to speed now. This is the money stop. They're both in along with Briley Wright. Since it is crucial, we'll watch Fleming here too along with Feather Place, see what they elect to take. Will it be 2? Will it be 4? Knowing it's Ranger. Oh, Fleming misses his stall by a little bit, and that could be 3 stops back. This could be the nail in the coffin. Gotta talk about getting these stops right. And Edward Marshall coming back in again. I think that's him. It is, so Marshall has to come back in for whatever reason. That's going to take him out of contention. And he's back in his stall here again. Just checking in on him real fast. Did he get a penalty of sorts? Away he goes. So now Marshall is going to be net a lap down. Up front, Ross Baxter leads the way. He is now coming in, and he is losing it. He'll get it saved. He is in. Brian Dixon, theoretically, will take the race lead. Obviously, Dixon, McDonough, Withers, Smeal, and Johnson will all have to pit again. When it all cycles through, that black and purple car you see in the far shot, Blake Galloway, he will be our race leader. 2 seconds clear of Kent, and 3 seconds clear of Gaiman. Feather Place's Fleming is lucky. Stopped the bleeding. Should still come out with a P5, but a lot of time was lost there. Will it be detrimental? Obviously, we'll try to do all the math again once everything cycles out. And Fleming is also back in again. Maybe there's a top-off. It's odd he has to come back in a second time. Same thing with Marshall, but maybe they just... Obviously, it's still too early. Odd choice, but he's in again. So he is in. That may just take him chances and take him out of making it to the Final Four. And be what Fordon wants to see. Dixon in. McDonough, currently our race leader. But he's going to get passed here by both Gaiman and Feather Place, respectively. There goes Gaiman. Feather Place is going to try to follow suit as well. And he Wilson has to get around. So obviously McDonough is going to have to come in sometime in the near future. Withers in this time by. He will pit. So McDonough, Johnson, Smeal. Our top 3 at the moment. Galloway will be our race leader. Tommy Withers, obviously coming out of pit lane, just getting past now. Just again, McDonough, Johnson, Smeal are hoping, because they won't hit the number. They'd have to make it over 50 laps, which no one has done here tonight, so they will have to come in. But this is what our de facto race lead is. Gaiman under pressure here from Featherplace. Featherplace looking to try to do the ultimate long Kong here. Bound for what would be de facto the last of the podium. Again, unless something crazy happens and Smeal, Johnson, McDonough have enough fuel in reserve. Looking in the chat, we can see what happened. Presumably Marshall and Fleming pettily took them both. So they are going to finish presumably 15th and 16th unless we see a late caution here. That, I think that is looking poised to see what our top four will be, but we'll hold off on that until everything finishes up. Johnson coming in now, he'll give up third. Done. Ross Baxter will get his lap back. We're going to come back to Kent, Gaiman, and Featherplace, as this was what de facto P2 is. Galloway's only a second up the road. This is pretty much going to be our race. Second place we're watching right now when the top two pit. Out of these three, Kent's the spoiler. If he, obviously Kent's got, yeah. Galloway and Kent are spoilers. Gaiman, if he wins, he locks himself in. Featherplace has already locked his way in. No real effect if he wins or loses. McDonough, he is in. He'll give up the lead. Smeal, we'll see if he comes in this time by. He'll stay out. He'll lead a lap. So we know Smeal will have to pit eventually. And the question is, can Galloway hang on with the undercut and the two tires nonetheless? Two tires and the undercut. Or will Kent, Gaiman, and Featherplace rail him down? And more importantly, between the three of these, who will put the challenge? Worth noting as well, Featherplace is on two tires. Gaiman and Kent took four. Smeal is in. So now this is for the race lead and possibly the race win. Galloway, second clear. Gaiman trying to make a move on Kent. He knows he's got to get some space. Out of these four, only one driver has won this season. That is Featherplace in this top four. Still side by side for second with 13 laps to go. Almost three wide here. Gaiman going to get clear. Featherplace going to try to follow suit around Kent. He will, and now he's going to try to make it 2 for 1. Low side here of Gaiman. They'll be side by side off corner exit. Could be shades of what we see in 2 weeks' time at Michigan. Featherplace going to get clear almost. Still can't get clear yet. Gaiman's still there on the corner. Featherplace going to drive it in deep again. This time he should get clear. He will. Gaiman going to over-under him. He is. He's going to get the low side. And remember, that purple-black car, Galloway, is our race leader. Gaiman going to switch back. He is clear. Now Featherplace going to try to over-under the over-under. Gaiman corrects. Gaiman in the wall. Featherplace collects 2. That's should be a caution. No caution called yet. There's the caution. And that may be terminal damage for Gaiman, driving on the nice edge. And he has officially jumped the pit lane. Gaiman, at the moment, this is just flipped on its head as we speak. Featherplace, heavy damage, out of contention. And this has just taken this race and turned it on its head as he is crab walking, so that's going to be a lengthy repair as well. Let's take a relook at this too. So obviously we saw it from the angle, but we'll check from the eye in the sky camera. And you're just going to see Gaiman just gets a little loose, maybe a little help from Featherplace. It shunts Gaiman. That's a delicious lick. And that is probably terminal for Gaiman. Feather Place, we'll see. But on the path of ruin, 2 cars get involved. We'll take another look, this time by from a wider angle. Just a sickening lick for Gaiman. And Kent piles in too, by the way, so there's nowhere for him to go. Obviously, we'll get to the onboard shots here. We'll go on board here with Gaiman. We'll go on board with Feather Place first. I want to see if there was contact between the two. It gets loose first, but I didn't even see the shunt. And at that point, I think Kent got through it relatively okay. I don't think he hits anything. But yeah, it looks like either maybe slight netcode or Gaiman gets loose. But regardless, the outcome is still the same. We'll take 2 more looks. This time we'll go inside the cockpit of the 61. This is going to be just a painful thing to listen to. Let's take a listen. Yeah, that's just the sound of pain. Obviously, we'll have to do the map to see where Gaiman files into this, but right now, not directly sure with him now being in the possible retirement zone where he will file out. We'll take 1 more look. This time with Matthew Kent, because at first I thought he got hit, then he got through it. Let's just see what happens to the Bucky's driving. Oh, he got saved by the game. Or the sim, I should say, as that should have easily gave him damage, but he survives it and uses one of his 9 lives. So take one last look at this incident, just straight again. 2 playoff drivers fighting hard here. And now both of them pretty much, one is definitely out of the race, the other one heavily damaged. So back to live action. We have an extra lap of pacing here. This has flipped it on its head. Edward Marshall, I think, is back on lead lap with 8 to go here. It does look like Gaiman, actually, Gaiman is no longer continuing. However, theoretically, Gaiman is currently still ahead of Josh Battles. But Battles should unlap himself. So we can lock in some drivers here to try to figure this out here, as we should get the one to go this time by. So it's going to be, at the moment, while we were watching, no one came in the top 3. First driver to come in. Yeah, no one came in of note. First driver to come in was Smeal and Withers back in P9 and 10. So it's going to be Galloway, Kent, Baxter, Dixon, Wright, McDonough, Deala, Johnson, Smeal, Withers. Worth noting, in this top 10, there is no... whoever in the top 10 right now, there is first type winner central, as none of these drivers have found victory here tonight. If another caution were to come out, the battle between Fleming to get back on the lead lap here is still a chance. Marshall is back on the lead lap, currently in 11th, giving us 11 cars on the lead lap. So obviously, there's a lot of math to do and a lot of situations that will play out. So at this moment, we will count everything once it ends. We're just going to let these drivers just run it out here until completion. So we'll see who can find victory, who will get the run they need, and who will bring it home for glory. So pace truck pulls off. We'll have 6 laps to go. Ooh, green flag is out. Right. Just jumped. Maybe not jumped the start, but just shunted Baxter and got that inside line. A big move. We'll wonder if that may be legal. He went go. Matthew Kent sideways in front of the pack. Caution is out. They say a caution is a girl's best friend, or at least maybe a girl's is a bit of a stretch here. But that should get Fleming back on the lead lap. Kent, obviously, minor incident for all. We'll take a quick look here. Feather Place also looks like he had an incident too here. Actually, that's the previous incident. My mistake. Let's take a look at what happened to Kent. Let's just look at this whole restart, as it should be very indicative. So let's just watch this again. So we go on green here. Wright goes a bit earlier. Again, we'll see if that is considered deemed legal or not. Obviously, he was out of the restart zone, but he gives a shunt to Baxter and Galloway. They keep it going. Wright now side by side, and Deala looks like he drifted up a little.
check the sky camera, but regardless, that will be the caution there. Obviously, not minor damages. You see Kent just lock it down. Doesn't hit much, but you can see some of the shunts from tonight's action. We'll go with an eye in the sky camera, and we'll play it here, and then we'll slow it down here. 3 wide. Oop, that was the wrong button. Let's go back to the replay, back to the chopper camera, and then play it at 4 speed. So Dealer trying to go low. I think he tries to, yeah, he corrects and knows Withers there. He shoots up, yeah, right into the pathway of where Kent is, and that gets Kent loose. So at the end of the day, just Dealer goes up a bit too high, collects Kent, and luckily, again, everyone backs it down. So I hit the wrong button again, so we'll take one more look, but everyone backs it down, and no one ends up piling in here and making a major fool of this. Honestly, the one making a fool of this right now is me with this replay process. So at the end of the day, Kent McDonough gets a little shunt in the back end, but that will be our caution of the night. As we should, theoretically, don't think we'll tick over to green-white checker territory yet. We're at 4 to go right now. We should be at 3 when we get the... Yeah, we will not be officially in a green-white checkered attempt yet. Like I was alluded to, Chris Fleming now back on the lead lap. He's pretty much going to have 2 laps to try to get as many spots as he can. Problem is some of his main rivals in Vordon and others are not that far up the road. So this, again, this is going to be interesting how this math plays out. But if you're Chris Fleming, you got a last-second Hail Mary here. You're theoretically back on the lead lap in 11th. You're going to have to try to, basically going to have 2 laps to try to get as many spots as you can and hope that is enough to get yourself across the line. We do know Josh Gaiman is going to finish in 16th spot. And we know he was in for the longest time. If he's still in at the moment, 21 points await him for his troubles. Meaning the line is 40-77. But he also got 9 stage points and 1 bonus point for leading the lap, so, but that's the same amount as Fleming. So it's going to be interesting how it plays out in the playoff run. Marshall should be good. Outside of that, though, is anyone's guess who the final 2 spots are. But we'll focus on the wins. We do not want to take away from the shine. Obviously, with all the playoff drama, we don't want to take away the shine up front. Galloway, Baxter, row 1. Wright, Withers, row 2. Deela, Dixon, row 3. Marshall, McDonough, row 4. Smeal, Johnson, row 5. Galloway looking for his first win. Baxter, first win. Wright, first win this season. Withers, trying to get a second win this season. Deela, Dixon, McDonough, Smeal, Johnson, all looking for first wins this season or in career. Marshall looking for a second. The moment freshest tires in the field, I think, is Matthew Kent, who came in, but he's going to be firing back in 11th. If chaos were to happen, and chaos is still to happen, anything can be subject to change. Will Wright get the super jump he needs? Will Galloway hold on? Only one way to find this out. Let's do the thing. 2 laps to go for all the marbles in the Sin City. Green flag is out, and away we go. Good launch there by Galloway. Wright going to clear Baxter for second. Third, Deela going to get a good run on Baxter for third. Marshall trying to push Deela. If the leader takes the white flag, this race will be official. Big chaos up front. Dixon way up the road. They are wrecking further back. We will stay green. Dixon keeps it straight. Final lap. Galloway, big lead right over Wright. Baxter and Wright battling for second. That is what you want to see if you're Blake Galloway. Cars fighting for second and third on track. Fleming trying to drive his way up for the field. He's in that big pack back there. Coming through 3 and 4, they're going to be 3 wide for second. But that is not first as they come off the last corner. Blake Galloway will find victory in the Sin City. He will take the checker flag. Edward Marshall with a good recovery will get second, and Briley Wright will come home in third. Confirming pretty much Marshall is in, as the math is there. But Blake Galloway, your race winner, he's going to loop it right in front of the backstretch here. Very unconventional strategy, but he's your race winner. Putting up on the screen now just in case he gets T-boned. But he has officially won in the Victory Fuels machine. He's going to do it on the backstretch. Very odd angle to do a burnout, but he is officially won this race. So while Galloway does his burnouts in a very unsafe location, his cars are still technically going around. We got a lot of math to go over, and we will try to do that during the interview process, and we'll try before this broadcast is through, figure out possibly an unprovisionalized top 4 heading in to Michigan in 2 weeks. We will leave you with that. But right now, we're going to let Galloway have his moment here and burn the house down. And also, do not go anywhere as well. We'll hear from our race winner, Blake Galloway, and the other 3 as well, of Marshall and Wright, and hear their thoughts in just a little bit. So as he does a victory lap here, we're going to give just a quick second here to show the final results here. Well, I said he was going to do that, but it looks like he's maybe trying to go to victory lane. We'll give him another second here, but while he does his burnout here, we're going to take a quick look at the final results. Blake Galloway takes home the victory. Edward Marshall, again, from getting that penalty, carving all the way up to second. 35 points for his troubles. Wright will round out the podium in third. Ross Baxter 4th, Mark Dela 5th, John Smeal 6th, Chris Fleming 7th. Obviously, you have the mathematicians trying to crunch the numbers and see if it's enough. Johnson 8th, Dixon 9th, Tommy Withers 10th. Matthew Kent, after that mistake, gets back to 11th. McDonough, last car on the lead lap. Matt Vordon finishing 13th. And as the rest of the field, Josh Battles will finish 14th. And then we go through the last page of the results here. Or I hit the wrong button. There we go. We have Feather Place 15th, who crashed out in that incident. Gaiman 16th, Wood, Pinnell, Markowski, and Feemster round out the rest of the grid. So, as we see right there, our race winner parked currently right next to the dice. We'll see if he is good to go for an interview. Right now, still no one in the broadcast booth, waiting room, so just hold on a second here. Because we are just technically waiting for if anyone wants to join for an interview. So we will hold on just a second here. Again, race winner, Blake Galloway. So let's see again, just again waiting for people to join. That's what we are kind of waiting on here at just the moment. Still no one joining the waiting room, so we are still just technically waiting. We'll give them another 60 seconds here. If not, we'll just assume no one wants an interview. This was a very hectic race. But while we, I guess, finish out the math here, I think we figured out who the top 4 unprovisionally is. And if I'm reading this right, obviously Feather Place advances with the win. Edward Marshall gets second. Josh Gaiman, even with the late incident, got enough stage points, had enough cushion coming tonight in third. And then that leaves the 4th spot up. And at the end of the day, Matt Vordon, even with the wounded car, should still mathematically get in, as he is 5 points ahead of Chris Fleming and 6 ahead of Dale Markowski, is how they finish out. Again, this is all unprovisional math. This is me just putting the math in, doing all the points and all that. But at the moment, it should be Marshall. It should be Feather Place, Marshall, Gaiman, and Vordon fighting for a championship in 2 weeks at Michigan. Obviously, again, unofficial. Keep an eye on the ABN socials and the the ARCS socials to keep an eye on if that is official or not. But that is how my math has come out here. To admit, looks like we do have our race winner, Blake Galloway, as he is now officially joined. So we will now bring him in and hear his thoughts this evening. Blake, this is Kevin the A-Band Booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Obviously, you were pretty much the only one in there, so you had a very hectic race, though. You bring home the checkered flag in the 05 machine. But we'll have to start at the very beginning. As at the pace it seemed, you actually had a top 10 car, maybe a bit of a top 5 car, but it seemed like your car was coming lightly in the run. So what was your secret to finding the speed around this track here and finding that car come to life late?
I was just lifting a little bit earlier than everybody else, kind of taking care of my stuff. I knew I didn't have the short run speed from practice and qualifying, so I knew I was going to have to do something different to get a better result there.
Mm-hmm. Well, looking onward, obviously, after you pull the first 2 stages, you get some decent points, but you're kind of in that point. Then we come to the final stage, and strategy, we see it become a two-stop pit stop window in the final stage. First stop gets you close up, and then coming into the final strategy, you went undercut early, and we saw you become one of the first major drivers to do the undercut. I guess the thought from that first undercut, did you think it was one of the best calls you could do, or were you still thinking maybe the overcut was the correct choice? And at the same point, how come you went 2 tires instead of 4 tires?
I was planning on going 2 tires for the second stop. I wasn't planning on pitting that early, but it just kind of worked out that way. When we went long, kind of got packed in behind some guys that had pitted early and just kind of got caught in the traffic, and it just didn't really work out. Mm-hmm. So I knew I was going to have to pit early, and hope it worked.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Looking onward, obviously you're holding on, and we see the pack kind of close up to you. Next thing you know, Gaiman and Feather Place end up crashing out, and you're coming to a late restart with the race lead. So take us 2 questions, I guess, on this point. One, did you have a set of tires left? And if you did, were you going to come down at all, or were you just sticking for track position and whatever happens, happens?
I only had a set of lefts left. If I had a set sitting, I probably wouldn't have came down anyways, but I thought it was going to be a sit and duck. I didn't know who crashed. I knew a couple of guys had a set laying, and I think they were involved. So once I learned that, I just knew I had to keep my head down and stay focused and do the best I could on the gears.
Mm-hmm. And then take us through that final restart as well. When you're looking at that last restart, there were 2 to go, and you pull away. Next thing you know, you see 3 cars side by side. So take us to that last. I guess it was technically green but checkered, but that last restart from your perspective and how you brought it home.
Yeah, I just wanted to get clear into one, and then I looked in my mirror and saw they were all racing, and just tried to keep ahead of whoever was in front the most out of them, just to give them some dirty air best I could, and try to focus on my line as well, not over driving the corner to make sure that I was lined up with them or under driving, or just kind of keep from hitting the wall and bringing it home.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously you did bring it home, and you brought home the checkered flag here in the Sin City, your first win this season. Obviously going into 2 weeks' time at Michigan. Thoughts on that track as a whole? Do we see you a chance to be the ultimate spoiler again and win the final race of the season?
I don't know. It seems like championship race guys tend to bring the best that they can that are going for that, and I certainly won't be afraid to be in the way if I feel like I can win the race, but at the same time I don't want to take it away from somebody as well. So we'll see. I do like Michigan. I don't know how it's going to race with this car, but looking forward to it.
Yep, well, obviously you'll have a good amount of time to look forward to that. Let's have a week off, and then obviously we'll see if you can go back to back. If there's anything you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, what have you, floor is yours. Take it away.
I'd just like to thank you again for putting on this broadcast. You do a great job. I actually got to watch last week because wasn't allowed to race, but that's okay. But it was a good one to watch as well. Yeah.
Okay. If that is all, it's been great talking to you, Blake, and obviously enjoy your race victory and have a good rest of the week. And hopefully we'll be talking to you about Michigan. But if not, take care. Have a good rest of your week.
You too.
And that was our race winner, Blake Galloway. And with no other sign of anyone showing up,
I think we're just going to close the interviews there because no sign of Briley Wright, no sign of Edward Marshall, who are 2 and 3 respectively. So we're just going to call the interviews there, and we're going to let that sun on out here. So again, we usually get the top 3, but there's really no one here. So obviously next week we'll make up for it in 2 weeks time we'll make up for tenfold, as we'll hear from obviously the championship winner and pretty much top 3 and the rest of the podium. We're going to hear a lot of interviews next week. So you know what? I think it's a good reprieve that we have one interview here tonight. So we'll take a look as we see Galloway drive away here. We'll take a look one more time at the final results and what we assume is everything we're playing out. So we'll take one more look at the results. Galloway takes victory. Marshall 2nd, Wright 3rd. Baxter 4th. Dela 5th. John Smeal 6th. Chris Fleming 7th. Brian Johnson 8th. Brian Dixon 9th. Tommy Withers 10th. Very topsy-turvy race here as a lot of playoff drivers struggled. Matthew Kent 11th. Kyle McDonough 12th. Ford Don 13th. Josh Battles 14th. As we move on to the next page of results, Brandon Feather plays 15th. Gaiman 16th. Wood 17th. Pinnell 18th. Markowski 19th. Feemster 20th. And again, a lot of playoff drivers struggled here tonight with late incidences, and that has shaken this field up. And again, if you did miss it, as we do have the unofficial math here, but obviously the moment this can be subject to change with penalties and everything, but it's Feather Place, Marshall, Gaiman, and Vordon are going to be the 4 drivers fighting for a championship in Michigan in 2 weeks' time. Fleming missed out by 5 points, but again, depending on if penalties play out, if there's any penalties, note, this could be subject to change, so keep an eye on the A Squared socials and the ARCS socials and the ABN socials. Just follow anything with an A, and you'll find out the news and the updates and all that. But that will do it here tonight for me. It's been a very, very interesting race, very chaotic race, and it definitely shows the gusto the series has sometimes when, the chips are down, drivers are going to go aggressive, and you've seen it here tonight with a lot of just flip it upside its head. So again, like alluded to, next week we do have off. As I know I've said it once, twice, I'll say it one more time for the people in the back. We have next week off, August 31st, for the 7-500 in real life, and then we'll be back here on September 7th for the championship race at Michigan, where 1 of 4 drivers will have a chance to hoist the title above their head and become a first-time series champion and join the illustrious ranks of A-Squared champions. But we'll see that in due time. So until then, my name is Kevin Young. Thank you for joining us here, and hopefully everyone enjoyed the broadcast.